to the truth.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Reverse Band podcast. I'm Dave Looney and this is Eamonn Harford coming to you from Leg Barbell in the heart of Drogheda in the northeast.
The far side.
The far side of Drogheda. I suppose probably a brief introduction to the podcast and to ourselves. Some of you probably know who we are. Some of you probably don't. Some of you probably have seen some of us. You've probably seen us around at various competitions and bits and pieces like that. So I suppose I'm Dave Looney, very distinctly average masters powerlifter. Eamonn Harford.
As Dave said, you've probably seen us around competitions. You've probably seen us around the kind of the scene of powerlifting in Ireland. But so my name is Eamonn Harford. I'm the owner and head coach here of Limerick Barbell. The whole point of this kind of reverse band radio is to just have some fun and talk about powerlifting, talk about strength training, talk about the whole lot of it, and just kind of give some advice and see where we go from there. So so I'm a super heavyweight powerlifter. My weight class has letters. Total is 912 and a half. So yeah, not too bad. So coaching people here for the last 2 years. So I think the first thing we want to get into is like just a bit about powerlifting and what's coming up and how we're getting on and training in general. So the next competition for me and Dave is the AWPC / WPC Europeans in 2 weeks?
2 weeks, starting 2 weeks today.
Jesus.
In Limerick. It's going to be actually a massive competition. I think there's over 450 lifters over 6 days.
Yeah.
Or is it 6 days? 5 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday.
Sunday as well.
Sunday is lifting as well.
Yeah.
So it's actually, I'll probably be down in Limerick for most of the week myself. But to be fair, it's probably the biggest competition lifters wise in the history of the country. I don't think we've had one as big before.
We might have hosted up north GPC Europeans or something, Sam Graham,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't really know. We did host a WPU Worlds. Shane already hosted WPU Worlds.
That was come back about 3
but
years
I'm
ago.
not too sure if it exceeded the numbers that these Europeans are.
It's going to be huge, and the fact that it's bringing the AWPC, which is the tested federation, and the WPC together. I just think it's going to be a great week, and like I'm basing myself in Limerick for the week, and I'm going to just take it all in and enjoy every bit of it. As we all know, like Shane has put on some great competitions down through the years, and I've no doubt that this is going to be as good as Anthony's ever put on, if not better. Yeah. So it's my first competition of the year, so I'm looking forward to it. I was supposed to do the AWPO Nationals. I pulled out for personal reasons just before it, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I think you're.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it myself. Like it's I did WPC Worlds in Russia in 2017, and that was an interesting experience. It was different to compete in a world level competition. I've competed in pro competitions before, but they're all kind of national based, or even in England, Savage Pro. But when you travel to another country and compete in an event that lots of different countries are competing in, it's a different experience. Like it's interesting. Like when
I suppose you have to deal with the travel, you have to deal with the food, you have to deal with the surroundings, you have to deal with the local culture. And from what I can make out, the Russians, they have a different way of hosting competitions. I'm not going to go into too much. Our good friend Andy Carney made a very good point around that at the time. But to be fair, these are the things you have to deal with when you're not out of your comfort zone.
Well, I'll give you just a numbers thing here. So the Europeans coming up is 450 plus lifters. Now, I'll probably be wrong. There could be 500 lifters. There was 1,200 lifters registered for the Russian competition.
There was two platforms over 3 days.
Over the same amount of days.
Crazy.
Yeah. They held like slingshot competitions and arm wrestling and everything.
Nothing wrong with that. Slingshot's great for the ego.
Yeah.
But I know I am genuinely looking forward to this competition for the week. I just think there's going to be some great lifters. I've looked at some of the flight lists. I've looked at it. I mean, there's a few of the boys coming over from the UK, with crazy numbers coming over, and even just think Will Newton, one of your guys coming over. Like Will he's going to lift at 120 plus, or is he 110? No, he's 110 actually in the flight. He's in the same flight as me.
Yeah.
And Will total.
He'll total big. And then
800 plus.
Yeah, easy like.
And that's in the tested. That's in the AWPC tested.
Yeah, he's just Neanderthal. So
yeah, he's a whopper of a deadlift.
Yeah, look for him to pull a big deadlift at the competition.
Yeah.
What about yourself? How's your training going?
Look, it's going well. It's probably gone as good as it's gone in the last 12 months. I haven't trained well over the last 12 months, so that's for personal reasons, and the head wasn't in the game, so I'm getting back into it. I'm going down to this competition to enjoy. I'm just hoping I put up a bigger total than I put up at my last comps. And I'm quietly confident I'll hit a PB somewhere along the lines, but I just want to get myself right, go 9 for 9 and enjoy myself. Yeah. It's what I do the sport for.
Well, just like we said, we want to give tips as well. Like Dave has had some kind of adversity over the last 12 months in regards to some personal stuff, and training hasn't gone well, but he kept training going because it was a positive part of his life. A lot of you guys out there, there's a mentality out nowadays that you have to be a warrior and fight through things and push yourself when things aren't going right. You don't. Lifting will always be there. Powerlifting will always be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But to be fair, I pulled out of that competition about 2 weeks beforehand.
But you were still training. You were still in there.
I still trained and I came in. And to be fair, I still went down to the competition and I enjoyed myself for the weekend. I gave a dig out. And, it was probably the right thing to do because I could have competed, not done what I wanted to do, could have seen the weekend as a failure. And I think that's probably the biggest thing to pull from it. Like, not every day in sport is a good day. Yeah. I played football for years and I lost more games than I ever won. So in reality, I was going out every week playing football with the expectation, well, not with the expectation, but with the odds of actually having a bad day. We're there. And, you still do it because you love the process, you love the team, you love the work that goes into it. And I think powerlifting has to be done the very same. People go to competitions and bomb, and immediately you feel sorry for them. But the reality of it is, there's another competition again. Yeah. There's another cycle to go through. There's another, training program. There's a way of looking at it. What did I do wrong? And then, of course, you don't bomb the next competition. It's a positive. It's a plus. It's progress.
Yeah. And it's the whole point is that we all get into powerlifting. Like I can tell you why I got into powerlifting. Like I've always strength trained, played rugby and stuff, and it was a positive thing to strength train and to look and feel better. I didn't get in to be a savage and to do all this sort of. I did it for the fun of it and to enjoy it.
I'm doing it because I don't want to play golf. And that's the reality. I'm too old to play football. That's the reality. I'm too old to play football and I'm too young to play golf. Yeah. And I just had to do something. To be fair, I got into it because of an injury from football. And I had to go to a gym to rehab. And I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed the scene. I enjoyed the crack. And that's why you'll see me at, I am a bit of a powerlifting whore. I'd be at every federation. I don't mind. I go to every competition. I help out in the spot. And I just enjoy being around it. It's, it's something that's there for me the weekends, away from work and away from, the realities of family life and the reality of everything. So, everyone takes something from it. And it's, that's what I love about the sport and the social scene of it. And again, this week, 2 weeks' time down in Limerick, I'm going to be meeting old friends, people I haven't seen in a couple of years, people I see all the time, and I'm going to enjoy it and actually be around, all talk about the one thing that we love. So, it's a positive.
Yeah, it's
and I suppose, it's not like that's the first, the next in the big line of competitions. Obviously, the IPF Worlds are going on in Sweden in a couple of weeks' time. There's a huge team from the IPF going out to that. And they've worked hard for that. And then there's the Irish Pro, the ABS Pro, and the ABS Series coming along.
GPC at the RDS.
That's right. They're actually
push-pull.
The push-pull there.
There's an IPF SummerSlam. I don't really know what that is, but
last year they did during the summer. What they did at Muscle Power last year was a provincial competition, right. But because of the way the international comps were scheduled, it just kind of was a selection of who was available and stuff like that. So I think they're just doing it. There's a minimum Wilks or IPF
points.
Yeah, IPF points qualification, and I think it's first come first serve to it. So that could be a good competition as well. Cool. And then obviously you have the IPL at the end of the summer down in Limerick, which again is interesting.
That's a qualifier for the IPL Worlds.
Yeah, the IPL World
being held in October/November, I think.
Sorry, I got that wrong. It's the qualifiers in August in
Matty Costello's gym
Matty's gym in Galway.
Yeah,
and then that's an international. That's a world, the International Powerlifting League, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's it's a fully tested comp as well. So again, that's
Walkout.
That's walkout proper.
Yeah.
But again, that's it's another international competition coming to Ireland, and unfortunately, I won't be around at that stage for that competition. I'm not around for it. But it's just we're spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
So
So if all of that just sounded like Japanese to you, and if you're someone who isn't into powerlifting, and all of those federation names and all of that just sounded like absolute like, as I said, a different language. Another video we're going to plan to do in the next little while is just a very, very beginner's guide to powerlifting, explaining different federations and different options you have available to you. I think it's amazing that there's so much choice, but at the same time, like Netflix, it's very hard to pick what you want to watch.
Yeah.
Because you need a recommendation, nearly. You know that kind of way.
Well, I suppose if you're not familiar with this,
Yeah.
I'm involved in it a couple of years. I'm just federations I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
But the reality of it as well, like I suppose it leads into a conversation around, is there too many federations? And I hear that every time I go, there's too many. And I'll put my answer out there straight away. I don't think there is, because
I think the whole thing of it is if you look at powerlifting for what it really is. And what it truly is, right? Like I'm looking, you guys can't see, but I'm looking at one of the guys who lifts in this gym called Thomas McCaig, right? He's a little person who competes in the opens, right? Like he competes on the same platform that I do, that you do, right? That brand new person, like the guy behind the camera, Chris, could decide he wants to do a competition in 3 or 4 weeks' time. We all compete on the same platform. We all lift the same weight. You know what I mean? And we all do it under the same conditions. And at the end of the day, it's about personal development and achieving your goals. I know it sounds real cliche, but it is. So, like, mind my language, but fuck people who say there's too many federations.
Yeah.
If you feel more comfortable lifting in that federation because that's closer to you, or you feel more comfortable because your friend lifts in that federation, or your uncle, or someone else lifts in a different federation, go for it. Because at the end of the day, you're bettering yourself on the platform for yourself.
Yeah, well, that the other side, obviously, there's enough
know what I
people.
mean?
There's enough people to compete in them because
Exactly.
there's very few competitions that are undersold,
Exactly.
and they're bringing it. And to be fair, competition breeds. Competition by its nature will ensure the product gets better, which it is getting better. And I'm only involved in the sport about 3 years, but the changes I've seen and the quality of competitions, the quality of equipment, and the quality of everything down to the refereeing, the administration, the venues, absolutely everything across the board has taken up a step. And even in the short time I'm doing there, because if there's competition for members, if there's competition for competitors, the conditions have to get better. And it is, to be fair, it's there and you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
You pay your money, you get your money's worth. And again,
but if you were even to look at like semi-professional football or even Gaelic at the high level, right, or even rugby AIL level, some of that isn't even organised as well as some of the powerlifting competitions. Are just
100%.
General competitions, and these things are backed by government organisations. You know what I mean? Like the passion that these promoters put into the competition shows. You know what I mean?
Put it this way: a football match takes place over 90 minutes.
Yeah.
A powerlifting event takes over the whole weekend. So you have a weekend's worth of actually the competition, plus the setup, the prep, and everything else that goes into it. So it's behind the scenes. What goes on is phenomenal. But it's not only that. There's a lot more people getting involved in the refereeing. There's a lot more people getting involved in the administration side of the sport. And again, that has to be lauded. It has to be applauded. Like, it wasn't long ago, there was only a handful of people in the country that had to run, the scoring sheet.
Yeah.
But now,
more people
do it. They're getting better at it.
Yeah.
It's actually there. The spotting and loading of competitions. It's always going to be the hardest people to get onto the platform because it's somewhat a thankless job. It's a hard job, but then again, the people are doing it, and the quality of it is, which means the lifters are safer. As the weights are getting heavier, the lifters are safer on the platform because of the quality of the spotting.
And powerlifting's becoming more popular. If you'd look at the recent documentary like West Side versus the World, I haven't
watched it yet.
But that became number 2. The first weekend it sold out. Number 2 on iTunes for selling documentaries.
Serious?
Number 2, you're talking iTunes documentaries that sells documentaries like Free Solo and these things. Westside versus the World about a small little gym in Columbus, Ohio. That
They use reverse bands, don't they?
I think no, they're high frequency. They don't use reverse.
Right.
This small little gym in Columbus, Ohio, full of like crazy lifters, and they have people like Ron Perlman, you know, the actor guy, like doing the narrating on it and making it sound real kind of cool and stuff. Like these things all bring powerlifting to the front where it should be. You know,
it does, and I mean that. To be fair, is that's the extreme version of powerlifting as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
I mean it's equipped. A lot of it is equipped in Westside.
Yes.
Right.
It's apart from actually, did you see Peter Bremner, the Irish hybrid PB? Shout out to you. He's now in Westside training.
Right.
Oh, he's
raw.
I know he's a strongman deadlifter.
Right.
He holds the All-Ireland deadlift record for strongman in Ireland at like 435.
Lovely.
And he just pulled 400 kilos plus 250 kilos of band tension today off a two pin raw in Westside. For a lot of people, just so you know, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, like powerlifting is growing every single day. I think 2019 was the most stacked year that I've ever seen when it comes to a calendar for events and stuff. So let's kick on to something a little bit different here, Dave, right? So say you were to give your top 3 points advice for somebody getting into powerlifting. Let's say a master. Some guy comes up to you in the office and goes, do you know what? I went to my doctor, I have my medical. He said, I got to change something. I got to start looking after myself better. But I really just don't want to go to spin class. And if some guy comes up to me in lycra shorts and asks me to go running one more time, I might just punch him. What would you give him as advice for that?
I tell you, it's very simple. I think this has probably been spoken about many times. I mean, the first key to it is find a gym that has a reputation for powerlifting. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a gym like ours here. It can be a commercial gym that actually people train out of it as powerlifters.
Yep.
But again, get in touch. Get in touch with a powerlifting gym. Get in touch with the federation. There is a gym in nearly every county in the country at this stage. There's a great network of people around, and like that, get in touch with somebody that you know is involved in powerlifting. Live where you're close by, and there is a plethora. But that's the start of it. You get in, all right. Learn how to squat, bench, and deadlift. Just learn the basic movements and do it slowly and get into it and just build up and enjoy the newbie games when they happen. And I mean, I would never say to somebody, get into powerlifting because you want to compete. Get in because you want to do something different in the gym. And then, if you actually find you like it, sometimes competition is not for everybody. Like, in reality, you're still going out on a platform on your own in front of a crowd of people to do something you've never done before. It's not easy. A lot of people don't want that pressure. Like, personally, for me, I am a Masters. As I said, it was either this or play golf.
So what's a Masters? Because we're trying to give tips to people here. What's a Masters?
Somebody like me who's a king of it. No.
Massive bench press.
Once you turn 40 years of age, thankfully, you become a master. So when you're a young 40 years of age, you're a Masters lifter. It's just a different age category. You have open, is up until 40 years of age, and then obviously you have junior categories as well. So, as a master, I personally, I need a competition to keep me on track. And the reason being, I need something as a goal at the end of a training cycle. If I didn't have a competition to do, I would come in and I would do whatever the hell I felt comfortable doing that evening and probably go nowhere. And like so many other people, you'd pay for a gym membership and leave after 6 months and not do it. So if I know there's a competition for me 12 weeks, 16 weeks down the line, this is what you have to do, because you lay out the program for me, I will do it. If you didn't lay out a program for me to come in here, I'd probably stand in front of the mirror, do a couple of curls, flex my ab, and walk out the door.
The one ab
I have. So, that's, for the beginner, it's just about getting into the environment and actually finding a gym and a person that knows what they're doing. And, it's worth a few bob for the, PT session. And the other side of it as well, at these gyms, people tend to train in groups. So if you went in, had a couple of PT sessions, and then you went in on your own on the Tuesday evening, somebody might say, do you want to jump in and squat with us? And suddenly you have a group of people to train with. And, you'd be surprised, there's an awful lot, like even this town alone, how many gyms is there powerlifting in? Ourselves, Boyneside, Integral.
Have actually invested a huge amount of money into a new powerlifting
room
section,
in Integral.
which is fantastic, you know what I mean?
I'm a member of Integral actually from the swimming club.
So
I'll
you're off the team, Dave.
I'll be up to
cut him out of this, Chris. He's out of this all together.
So I mean that's 3 alone, and then
only on me.
But that's true. There is more, isn't there?
Well, there's just loads. Like there's loads of different things. Like,
but like this is only a small town. But they're there. You go down to Limerick, Limerick.
Yeah. But the thing is,
Cork.
The thing is, if you want to get involved, you've got Leg Barbell or Eamonn Strong on Instagram or It's the Ab. Message either of us, and you can do, like, we're not going to try and sell you Leg Barbell. What we're going to do is, where you living? I'm living in Wexford. Right, I know this gym in Wexford. Go down to there. I know this guy PJ who trains in Wexford. Go talk to him and say I sent you. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and the thing is about, especially for older individuals getting into a gym who've never been in a gym before, the big point I want to tell people is that don't be intimidated.
Not at all.
Because you walk into an environment and you think, Jesus, like this young gun here, he's look at all the weights he's lifting, or like they're gonna judge me. It's like, I get that a little bit with women, the kind of older women coming in and they're like, oh, but I'm lifting so much small weights and they're lifting big weights, and they'd be like laughing at me and stuff. It's like, they won't.
No, to be fair, it's not.
Nobody laughs at anyone. If you laugh, you get kicked out of the gym.
You can laugh at people. I laugh at you all the time, Eamon. To be fair,
but not because I'm a lifter, because I just look laughable.
But that's what I mean. But to be fair, it's probably something that it was probably intimidating years ago. It's not anymore.
No,
it's a lot more mainstream, and you even see it from the university competitions and stuff like that. The fact that you have universities now with powerlifting teams, and that just shows that it's gone into the mainstream. People see it. You walk into a fly fit, you'll see a fella squatting 250 plus most evenings if you go into a fly fit gym.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And
you'll also see women half squatting and men half squatting as well.
But half squatting is always okay. It's ego lifting. But the reality of it is, it's accessible. The one massive bit of advice I would say, don't go out and spend a whole pile of money on equipment.
That's Louis Simmons' famous phrase. Don't have $100 shoes and a 10-cent squat. Yeah,
like you can spend every penny you have on powerlifting equipment that you don't need.
Yeah.
The reality of it is, you need a pair of flat sole shoes, so cheap runners. A singlet you can borrow off somebody if you want to compete, but that's only if you want to compete. You only need to borrow for the day of the competition, and that's it.
Yep.
Everything else can be begged, borrowed, and stolen, and that's the reality of it. And then down the line, if you realise that you want to do it and get into it, by all means, go and spend a fortune.
And I can tell you this for a fact, that 99.9% of the gyms that promote powerlifting will have stuff that you can borrow. You probably see in the background there, we have like 9,000 belts. Like that's, anybody can use any of those belts. You know what I mean? Like anybody can use my belt if they want, but
no, Eamon, they wouldn't fit you.
Unless you have two girls fit together. That
but it's that side of sport. Like if there's a €200 belt sitting up there, and you just want to try it out to see what it's like, you're not going to be expected to go out and buy your own £200 belt to use a couple of times and then realise you don't like the sport. No. So again, that side of it. And the other side of it as well is, after that, get a coach, get a program, get somebody to know what you do. It's near impossible to program yourself, and you need to have somebody to program it for you. There's a bit of science behind it. Either go and learn the science and figure it out, or do what I do what I'm told, and get the results from it there. If I try to overthink what I do, I'd lose my mind.
If you just try and think in general.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. Yeah. So look, it's a simple enough thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all great points. I think that's, do you know what? This is only the first episode, right? And I think rather than let's going on and on for like an hour or two talking shite about the same stuff over and over again, I think what we're better off doing is...
One question I do want to ask you straight to the point.
We'll cut this in the next few minutes after this question, and we'll just get you guys, if you have questions that you want answered, drop them in the comments below or send us directly, and we'll look for these questions and answer them specifically. That kind of way, that'll help us direct where we're going with this. As you can see, we don't really have much of a plan. So
Eamon has been thinking about this for a long time. Yeah. So that's why I'm going to ask Eamon.
Go on.
Very quick question before we wrap up. 3 most impressive lifts you've seen in the last couple of weeks or months?
In Ireland or in general?
In general.
Marianne and Gaspari doing the 720 Wilks with her 260 squat, weighing only 56 kilos. So that's a woman squatting 260 kilos, weighing 56, which in old money is about 7 stone. Am I right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. That was the
US Open.
US Open, yeah.
Yeah. I'll take one from from Ireland. Do you know Jake squatting that 380 at the abs?
Like
that
butter.
moved like butter. And I think I'll take another one from Ireland as well. And I can't just say it's a lift, but a performance. I think Jesse Moran's performance.
Oh, it was outrageous. I spoke about it with Arthur.
And I think,
blew me away.
and I want to add more because I just think I know 3 is the number you gave me, but I think in general, the female performance at the Nationals, Aisha, Deanna, and Laura,
APO Nationals,
just blew everyone away. I think it's the first time in history 3 girls went over 500 kilos on a total.
Yeah.
And I think it just blew people away in regards to the level of lifting. Jesse Moran's level of lifting at Nationals and stuff. It was
that took it to just a whole new level.
It was pretty impressive. They're probably the most impressive lifts I've seen. Like, there's been lifts in general are crazy to see. Like, I saw, did you ever hear of a guy called Julius Maddock? He benched 710, which is 322.5 kilos yesterday, like it was an empty bar. Like, that's just sick. So when you see really crazy dudes doing stuff like that, it's crazy. It's class to see, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
So I think that's us for today. Reverse Band Radio.
Reverse Band Radio.
Thanks very much for watching. I think we're gonna just, if you have comments, we're gonna start kind of rolling out different topics that we want to discuss, and then we're also going to get some guests on that we can, some Irish people. I know people want to see some kind of different people from other countries, but I think there's enough impressive Irish people that we can get on who are good crack, who we can.
There's plenty of them.
Yeah. There's loads of people. There's even people in this town, like people like Sean Hoey and stuff, who have been around the sport for so long.
Well, Sean Hoey is, he's a veteran, but he's still lifting.
So like
Still
people
pulling 300 kilos.
People like him
every night of the week.
People like him and stuff. It'd just be great to get him on and share his story and stuff. So
thanks
very much for lifting. Follow us on Instagram at Leg Barbell at Able Strong. What's your Instagram?
It's the AB.
It's the AB. And let us know what you think. If you think it's really shit, let us know. And if you're interested in getting into powerlifting, if you want any advice, we're always available to give us a shout. So thanks very much.